Hi, these are the top 10 films of 1993. When I say top, I mean my personal favourite films. It was a great year for cinema, so there's going to be loads of movies I left off, so please include your favourite films down below. And if you enjoy these videos, consider giving this a like and subscribing. Cheers! In at number 10, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. Batman the Animated Series could very well be the best on-screen adaptation of the Dark Knight comics. And this first feature film from that team does not disappoint. This works as both a continuation of the series and as a prequel of sorts. There's a new vigilante in town, the Phantasm, but unlike Batman, this vengeful Caped Crusader has no qualms about killing criminals. The central story works well, but so does the flashbacks to his first year fighting crime, and especially the romance between him and a young woman. A woman who could bring him happiness, but would get in the way of the vow he made to his slain parents. The love story might be the most fleshed out and realised of any Batman film, and shows the innate tragedy of the character. A guy who's essentially made a vow that's ruined the possibility of him ever having a normal life. Much like the show, Gotham is beautifully realised. Shirley Walker's Danny Elfman-inspired score is rousing, and it features stellar voice work. Whenever I think of Batman, I think of the late great Kevin Conroy's voice. It wasn't just because I watched the show so much as a child, it's because he nailed it. But also, whenever I think of the Joker, I think of Mark Hamill's voice.
That's it! That's what I want to see! A nice big smile.
In at number 9, The Nightmare Before Christmas. A beautiful stop-motion animation that you can enjoy at Christmas or at Halloween. With a story by Tim Burton, who was still on a hell of a roll, direction by stop-motion master Henry Selick, and Danny Elfman providing top-notch musical numbers, this is certainly no trick. This is a real treat. Having the perfect mixture for kids, of being slightly dark and gruesome, but also silly and light. The story takes place in Halloween Town, a place filled with monsters, corpses, and just things that are generally Halloween themed. Jack Skellington leads their annual Halloween shindigs, but recently he's gotten a little bit bored of the sameness of it all. This all changes when he stumbles across doors leading to other holiday-themed worlds. He is rather enamoured with Christmas Town and decides that this year the residents of Halloween Town will handle that holiday instead. Santa is abducted and Skellington will deliver his own brand of presents that night. Stop motion takes an age to do, which might explain its 76-minute running time, but boy oh boy do they fill those minutes with imagination, stunning sets, characters, and terrific music.
What's this? What's this? There's color everywhere. What's this? There's white things in the air. What's this? I can't believe my eyes, I must be dreaming. Wake up, Jack, this isn't fair!
In at number 8, Three Colors Blue. The first of Kieslowski's three-colour trilogy. The three films are based on the three colours of the French flag, and blue is the appropriate title for this film, as that's how you'll be feeling all the way through it. Juliette Binoche is superb as a woman who loses her husband and daughter in a car accident. What is wonderful is that she doesn't just play it as someone depressed or sad. There is plenty of anger and confusion as well. The film is stunning to look at, with a heavy dose of the colour blue adding beauty, but never coming off as too forced. The three films represent the ideals of the French Revolution, this one representing liberty, but here the liberty of how she can feel and live after the death of her family. Deeply moving. In at number 7, The Piano. Well, the laughs keep not coming with another blue film, both visually and tonally. Jane Campion is such a unique director. Much like her previous film, An Angel at My Table, she presents us with a socially awkward lead character who suffers from mental health issues. Here, a mute single mother from Scotland who moves to New Zealand after her father sells her into an arranged marriage to a frontiersman. Aside from her daughter, her only real love is for her piano. It's a stunning looking film that captures the mid-1800s period beautifully, and the film is filled with great performances. Holly Hunter is fantastic as the lead. Sam Neill plays her unsure husband fantastically. Harvey Keitel could have spent a little longer working on his accent.
I'm sorry, I can't do that. I don't have the time.
But is tremendously charismatic as another man who falls for the silent hunter. And Anna Paquin, at 11 years old, won an Oscar for her performance as her daughter. Yet again, Campion shows how good she is with child actors. It's a film that is both downbeat and full of life. A great movie from a hell of a director. In at number 6, True Romance. A really fun romantic crime drama. Based on a Quentin Tarantino script, you've got a totally Tarantino film, with great dialogue, lots of film references, and a heavy dose of the old ultra-violence. But here we get Tarantino's world through the eyes of director Tony Scott, who makes a totally Tony Scott film. Glossy, stylized, and moving at 100 miles an hour. This is basically a Tarantino wish fulfillment script. Christian Slater plays a lonely movie and Elvis-obsessed man who works in a comic book shop. Just exchange that for a video shop and you've got Quentin. His life is turned upside down when a gorgeous hooker on her first night on the job falls in love with him. After killing her pimp, they flee with a bag full of cocaine and then set about trying to sell it. Slater and Patricia Arquette are superbly charming as the Bonnie and Clyde-esque couple on the run from both the mob and the police. And the rest of the cast is astonishing. Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Rappaport, Chris Penn and James Gandolfini. There are the usual Mexican standoffs and verbal standoffs, the most iconic being between Hopper and Walken. This is a roller coaster of a crime film. Funny, silly, violent, romantic and just so much fun.
Do you realize how much fucking coke you have here?
Oh, tell me.
I don't know, but it's a fucking lot.
Here are some other notable releases of 1993. There was Richard Linklater's incredibly entertaining hangout movie Dazed and Confused, which introduced the world to Matthew McConaughey.
Alright.
And Ben Affleck.
Fuck all of you! Fuck you!
Daniel Day-Lewis starred in both Martin Scorsese's The Age of Innocence and The Powerful in The Name of the Father. But winning the Best Actor award that year was Tom Hanks for the AIDS courtroom drama Philadelphia. He also starred in Sleepless in Seattle, where Meg Ryan wants to leave her boyfriend because he's got allergies.
If he eats even one tiny piece of a nut,
my head swells up like a watermelon and I drop dead.
There was Mike Leigh's Naked, and speaking of which, there was also Free Willy. Mike Douglas was furious walking around LA and Falling Down, where fast food restaurants not serving breakfast after 11:30 upset him as much as gangland crime.
I want breakfast. Yeah, well, hey, I'm really sorry. Yeah, well, hey, I'm really sorry too. Get a gun!
While Menace to Society dealt mainly with gangland crime and ignored the breakfast issues. Over in New York, Al Pacino played yet another character who gets pulled back into crime in Carlito's Way, which has a great shootout in Grand Central Station. Robert De Niro wanted his son to stay away from crime, playing a bus driver in his directorial debut, A Bronx Tale. Leonardo DiCaprio stole every scene from Johnny Depp in What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Come down now. Hi!
And Jerry Lewis stole every scene from Johnny Depp in Arizona Dream.
Hello. Try it with your lips. Pucker them up. Hello. 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 No. More with the lips, you know. Hello.
While in the UK, The Remains of the Day featured some beautifully moving performances.
I ordered you to throw that match. You've cost me money. Big money.
Oh, yeah? Bigger than your hair?
We don't throw matches.
You're dead! Look out!
That was from Mr. Nanny starring Hulk Hogan. There was the fantastically over-the-top Tombstone.
No!
Justice is coming to Tombstone.
For action, you had the self-knowing Last Action Hero.
I'll be back. Ha! You did not gonna say that, did you?
that's what you always say.
I do?
Sylvester Stallone starred in the Die Hard on a Mountain flick Cliffhanger, while also appearing in the fun sci-fi action film Demolition Man.
I'm happy that you're happy, but the place where you're supposed to have the toilet paper, you got this little shelf with 3 seashells on it.
He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
John Woo made his first American movie, Hard Target, which features one hell of a final shootout. And also coming out was my favourite guilty pleasure movie of all time, Hot Shots Part 2.
Now I will kill you until you die from it. In a pig's ear.
Mr. President,
Thumper and Succotash!
Other comedies of the year included the excellent sequel, Addams Family Values.
You'll meet someone very special. Someone who won't press charges.
Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire.
A man who'd do anything.
Back off!
Got a time here. To see his kids. Mrs. Doubtfire.
For foreign cinema, there was the stunning Farewell My Concubine, Guillermo del Toro's first feature film, Kronos. There was the bizarre Australian film, Bad Boy Bubby. And from Japan we got the mega-violent Ninja Scroll and Sonatine. There were of course a load of bad films that came out that year as well, the most hypnotically bad being the Super Mario Brothers movie.
I didn't even know it was a game. It was my kids that told me. Well, I said, what's your next film? I said, I'm doing Super Mario Brothers. Oh, that's the game. Oh, what? Yeah, and this is you. And I saw this thing jumping up and down. I thought, I used to play King Lear.
Mario Brothers. This ain't no game.
Right, back to my top 10. In at number 5, The Fugitive. It really feels that they no longer make these adult action thrillers anymore. Based on the 1960s TV show of the same name, this movie had no right to be this good. Harrison Ford plays a doctor who is framed for the murder of his wife. After a thrillingly well-executed bus crash, he escapes custody and sets out to find the real killer. There is something just inherently likeable about Ford in this period. I think it's partially because he has no vanity in looking scared in action sequences. He looks like a man who is genuinely uncertain, unsure, and barely getting by. In the film, he's hunted by the US Marshals, led by a marvellously grumpy Tommy Lee Jones. I really do miss these middle-budget thrillers made to entertain adults. Thrilling, somewhat serious, not entirely realistic, but top entertainment.
I didn't kill my wife! I don't care!
In at number 4, Groundhog Day. One of the best comedies of the 1990s. Bill Murray is perfectly cast as a dickhead weatherman sent to cover a novelty news piece about a groundhog predicting the weather.
This is one time where television really fails to capture the true excitement of a large squirrel predicting the weather.
He hates his day in the small town, and when he wakes up the following morning, he finds himself in a time loop, forced to live the same day again and again and again and again and again and again. It's a brilliant idea, but you've got to pull it off, and director Harold Ramis and Murray manage it. Amazingly, they fell out during production, and didn't make up again until Ramis was on his deathbed, but you can't tell in the film. It's a wonderfully inventive movie, filled with romance and plenty of humour. The perfect film to watch again and again and again and again.
Do you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster?
I don't think so, but I could check with the kitchen.
In at number 4, Groundhog Day, one of the best comedies of the 1990s. In at number 3, Schindler's List. For my money, this is Steven Spielberg's finest serious movie. This World War II drama, based on a true story, is incredibly powerful. Liam Neeson plays the real-life Oskar Schindler, a German who helped save over 1,000 people from the Holocaust. The cinematography, John Williams' beautiful score, the performances, the pacing, the tone are all handled with care. Shot in black and white, the film has a timeless quality to it, but this is still very much a Hollywood movie. For instance, everyone speaks English. There are those that considered it too Hollywood, and there is certainly a case for that, but I don't think it takes away from how impactful the film is. Genocide is almost incomprehensible in the magnitude of its horror, so Spielberg does an outstanding job of showing a little bit of what happened. The girl in the red dress is the perfect example of this, literally highlighting one person so that we can comprehend and understand the hopelessness of the situation more clearly. Astonishing filmmaking from a man who usually makes popcorn classics.
Power is when we have every justification to kill, and we don't.
In at number 2, Shortcuts. Robert Altman certainly knows how to handle a film with too many characters in it. This 3-hour movie is based on 9 short stories and a poem by Raymond Carver. None of the stories really have conclusions. The stories don't even really come together that often, with characters just occasionally having interactions with each other. What this film does is just give us a snapshot of life in all its mess and glory. This is a world where awful things happen to good people and bad people get away with crimes. A world of messy relationships, hate, fear and love. Much like Nashville, we get a picture of a city in a time and place through the people in it. Here, Los Angeles over a few days. Almost all of the stories feature people who are not entirely happy with their lives, and in a lot of the stories, death and destruction are never far away. Things can go wrong at any time in anyone's life, and other people's pain and suffering mean little to those who may live near them but don't know them. This sounds all kind of bleak, but it's also an exceptionally funny film, with astonishing dialogue performed by remarkable actors. The ensemble cast is quite something. Tim Robbins, Robert Downey Jr., Julianne Moore, Andy McDowell, Matthew Modine, Fred Ward, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Chris Penn, Lily Tomlin, Tom Waits, Frances McDormand, and giving one of his best late performances, Jack Lemmon.
I said, Ola, if I have one more beer, I'm going to have to take a nap. And she says, I wondered what it would take to get you into bed. Hey, I don't know, I didn't want to hurt her feelings, you know? I mean, after all, it was your mother's sister.
This is by no means a perfect film, but it's not trying to be. Much like life, it's a big, entertaining mess. And in at number 1, Jurassic Park. One of the greatest adventure blockbusters ever made. Little did I know when I saw this at the Notting Hill Coronet as a young child that I would never have a better time in the cinema again. You went to see dinosaurs and Steven Spielberg delivered big time, making a supremely fun, edge-of-your-seat roller coaster that does everything right. It is truly remarkable that Spielberg made 2 so dramatically different masterpieces in one year. It's kind of unbelievable. Based on Michael Crichton's book, we follow a group of people who visit a theme park where dinosaurs have been brought back to life, and everything goes spectacularly wrong. It's frightening, thrilling, funny, moving, and just expertly made. Spielberg's direction is spot on, and he's brought together a hell of a team. John Williams writes another 5-star score, and on top of that, the sound design is iconic. The cast is fantastic, an ensemble that works together brilliantly, where by the end they feel like family. Spielberg gets everything right, but the one thing he had to get right were the dinosaurs, and boy oh boy are they convincing. A mixture of totally realistic Stan Winston animatronics and groundbreaking special effects that in certain scenes have still never been bettered. He holds off showing the dinosaurs, setting up the world and getting us more and more excited.
Now eventually you do plan to have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right? Hello? Hello? Yes?
I really hate that man.
And from the T-Rex attack onwards, your jaw is on the floor. There are so many films of this period that I have a huge amount of nostalgia for, but this is one where I cannot forget the cinema experience. It was just me, my dad, my sister, and one other person who was on the balcony. The lights died down and the dinosaurs came to life. A masterpiece of blockbuster entertainment from a master of the art. Right, so counting down my top 10. In at number 10, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. In at number 9, The Nightmare Before Christmas. In at number 8, 3 Colors Blue. In at number 7, The Piano. In at number 6, True Romance. In at number 5, The Fugitive. In at number 4, Groundhog Day. In at number 3, Schindler's List. In at number 2, Shortcuts. And in at number 1, Jurassic Park. Well, those are my top 10 films of 1993. What have I missed out? Loads, probably. So what are your top 10 films of 1993? Cheers.